So we're back, and
Yes,
we're still doing the Let Them book, and
that's
we're on
right.
chapters 3 through 6.
That's right.
So a couple of things, I definitely felt like we went from motivation in 1 to 3
Yeah,
to kind of more of an inward personal reflection in 3 to 6.
right.
Um, I learned a few things about myself for sure, but we'll go through kind of each big talking point
Yeah,
and
and I
kind of go
think
from there.
just use some of the questions that came up and some of the questions that are presented in the chapters,
Yeah,
and we can talk through those. Again, this is a community that we want to create for people to be transparent and
100%.
authentic
Yes.
in their process. And we're
Sorry,
in,
we've had a little cold this week.
yeah, we've been both battling a summer cold for, yeah, it's been,
About a week
yeah.
for
So
sure.
we are in the middle of school and clinicals and
Yeah,
working, and
a lot.
we're almost halfway through our hard year,
Yes,
and then
which is exciting.
it is exciting.
It is exciting.
It's we're working on some projects that we have coming up, that some community service
Yes.
projects that we're excited about. So we're gonna dive in, and
Yes.
let's start with the questions.
So the first big things is that healing changes the relationships. Like when you start doing let them and let me, right? Because that's
Right.
kind of how chapter 3, it kind of, let them, but let me, and how to deal with your anxiety, and how to breathe and reset in the moment of letting them, right? She talked about being in a store, and the cashier going bleep, bleep. Like I could hear it in my brain, and her being like, why are we going so slow? We're not getting this done. And having that moment of saying, let them right then in
Yeah.
that. And so that was kind of chapter 3, learning how to reset yourself in the moment of let them and let me, focusing on yourself and resetting yourself in those moments. You have to let someone just kind of go really slow if that's what they choose to
Right.
do. So in this one, it talks about how some relationships can really feel different after you heal. Like after you're to that let me part where you're starting to
Yeah.
heal your own inner stuff, how those relationships can, that's what I took, like
Yeah.
how the relationship can really feel different, and how it can be kind of lonely. And I feel like we've kind of experienced that
Yeah.
because as we've changed and healed, some relationships don't fit anymore.
I think that that is normal. That's a normal process in life, and it's nothing to be upset about. Here's the mistake that we make often, is that we get too emotionally tied to seasons, where we feel like we're experiencing some abandonment. And not to get too churchy, but there was a saying that I picked up along the way, and I applied it to relationships, and I
Mm-hmm.
think it's good. Relationships are there for reasons and seasons, and not all of them are going to be lifelong relationships. Some relationships, in fact, most relationships we come in contact with, they're going to be for seasons of our life, and it's okay to celebrate those seasons,
Yeah.
and it's okay to reconnect and rekindle those after a season. And it's kind of like the people that get stuck in their living their best life, like at high school. There's hilarious Uncle Rico in Napoleon Dynamite, where he's just reliving, where if he could time travel and go back and become
That would be his
the
optimal
yeah,
moment.
the high school
Mm-hmm.
quarterback, and that's where he's living constantly in this perpetual state of, that was my best time, and I'm in my 40s and my 50s, but I haven't really moved on from that
To have
state.
another best time of your
Yeah,
life.
like a new chapter, and that's growth.
It is.
It's
One of the
something.
things Matthew McConaughey, he says in Greenlight that he is his hero and his optimal person in 5 years. And then in 5 years, it's the version of himself in 5 years and
Yeah,
in 5 years. And he'll never truly get to that best version because he's always trying to heal and go beyond where he is
right.
now to be the best version of himself. So you never actually arrive if you're constantly working on yourself.
And that's a hard thing for us sometimes to contextualize,
Yeah.
that it isn't a negative. And we're going to talk a lot about relationships that we maybe outgrow or that don't fit where we're at when we're healing. And again, that isn't a negative. It's not to say these people are terrible people, or they don't fit in my life anymore. But we do outgrow situations and relationships
Mm-hmm.
as we heal. And the more that we heal, the more freedom comes from that, the more self assurance comes from, not even a self assurance, but an assurance comes from that. Like, our foundation is not shaky. It's not built on just the ego. It's not built on, us trying to
Approval.
prove, yes, or gain approval, or we're trying to constantly wage war with shame and
Yeah.
guilt, and make up for things. When we start to heal, we find freedom in that.
Yeah.
But that freedom comes at a cost. Telling the truth comes at a cost.
It does.
And it may come at the cost of you stripping away some of the layers and say, I don't fit in this room anymore. And that's okay. I'm grateful for this room. I'm grateful for this season. I'm grateful for this relationship.
Right.
And it's okay to walk on and continue your journey. And it's okay to be grateful for those time periods that you had, and those people that you had, and those relationships that you had, and still go on and move on, very much like a job.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're at a certain job and you're working there and you're doing that job, and you elevate outside of your job, your education,
Right.
that job, that elevation of that education is going to open up another job.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in that job that you have a friendship, or you have a circle of friends that you've established. As you can either decide, I'm going to stay here at this place because of these people. That's great. But if you've worked to elevate and grow and become more, it's going to open the door for another place, another job, another situation, another place for you to serve. So you have to decide, like, am I going to stay here, or am I going to go to where that work that I've done elevates me to?
Well, and one of the things it says is certain relationships only work when we are abandoning ourselves or we're in our survival version. It's one thing that she
Yeah,
points out is that some people love the drama, some people love the unhealthy you. And when you become healthy
yeah,
and maybe you're not doing the things you used to do, or you're not self deprecating
absolutely.
anymore, or you're not,
Okay, let's use a very practical thing. If you're, struggling with a vice, maybe you're drinking too much alcohol, and when you decide, hey, I'm going to clean my life up,
yeah,
you're going to lose some friends.
right.
Not because they're terrible people, but
But because
that's
that's
just
just not
that
what
was
you're
your
doing anymore.
that was your common denominator. And it's okay. In the Gospels, Jesus asks, there's several incidents where he's asking, will you be made whole? And there's a very specific miracle that happens where someone is by the roadside, and they have to decide whether they're going to stay on their mat, their place that they kind of have that's set up where they can have some type of, people are stopping and giving them, basically, taking care of them because they're lame, and they have to choose whether they're going to come to Jesus, or they're going to stay
Where they are.
where they are and where their kind of mat is. And there's this, like, really cool picture of that. They leave that behind, and they come. But that's scary. That's
Yeah.
scary to leave
What you know.
what you know. It's
And
easier to stay broken sometimes than it is to
right.
heal.
Well, because if someone's feeding you, someone's taking care of you, if you have just enough of what you need
Right.
to survive,
Sure.
and then the uncertainty of stepping out and doing something different.
Absolutely. And we oftentimes will maintain things in our life, including relationships, because we're comfortable in those settings. And the older we get, the harder it gets, the more set in kind of our ways we get.
So here are some questions. You ready?
Yeah,
Did healing make you feel disconnected from certain people?
absolutely.
Absolutely. I feel like maybe not disconnected, but it, like you said, it was a season, and the relationship just kind of naturally fell off. Like
Right.
it wasn't as, um, you just feel like you didn't have as much to talk about. You didn't have as much to share because I feel like when you're on a healing journey, you're reading different things, you're doing different things, you're
Yeah.
moving your body more, you're not stagnant, you're
Right.
not just fussing about Billy Bob and
Right.
Jane and whoever, right? You're not just
Right.
complaining about what someone else has done in your life, you're actually doing something to work on the inside.
Well, it changes the way that you process the world around you.
Mm.
Instead of, as you begin to heal, instead of talking about other people, you
Yeah,
can start talking about other ideas, and you
yeah,
start discussing bigger things, and that room changes and it shifts. And again, those people aren't, it's not a good or bad. That's a dualistic thinking,
it
right? Where
is
everything has to fit into this
a box.
these boxes. It's not that. It's being open
Mm-hmm.
to the possibility of growth and being
Well,
open.
what is that? Who is it that says? I think it's a movie that it says some people are leaves, some people are branches, and some people are roots.
You are.
I want
I
to.
don't know what the
I
source
want
of
to
this is,
say
but
this is Tyler Perry, Medea. Medea's like
I
some
like
people
it.
are just leaves, and they, when the
Yeah.
wind blows, they are just gone. And then some people are branches, and they stay for a while, but
Right.
eventually they fall away. But some people are your trunk and your roots, like that's where you
Right.
belong, right? So I guess it's the same with this. Like there's some relationships that are just seasonal. As the winter comes, they blow away, they
And
die away.
and there's seasons of life where everything gets knocked away, and
For sure.
you feel absolutely alone, and you have to decide, am I going to die here? And if we're quoting movies, I mean, Shawshank, you better get busy living or get busy dying.
Yeah,
And that's the choice.
it
That's
is.
the choice when devastation comes,
Mm-hmm.
and we feel betrayed, we feel let down, we feel like life, knocked us
Yeah,
for a loop, and
yeah.
we have to restart.
And I feel like you can, because I think sometimes this affects family too. And your family, I feel like, are your people in your life, they're your constants, right? It's not a job
Right.
relationship, a work friend, or what, it's more of a constant relationship with your family. And I feel like sometimes healing can affect your family
It
relationships big
can.
time as well. And you have to learn how to be in the room as a different version of yourself. And sometimes people have a really hard time relating to the new version of yourself, and you
But
feel
don't
yourself kind of slip back into
well don't
what
get
people want you to be.
don't get it. We can't get emotional around that. We
Mm-hmm.
can't be drawn into those negative emotions, and just be confident in that. You don't have to be arrogant. Just be confident in the growth, and those relationships, there's ebbs and flows,
Yeah.
and be confident that this season might be, the tide may be different. It might have gone out a little bit, and then we may grow together, and those conversations will change. And then in private, you'll have conversations with an individual, a sibling, a cousin, and then they'll start recognizing that, and then their conversations will change with you.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes time to be patient, and
It
like you said,
does.
not go back to that role that you previously played just
Right.
because
It's comfortable.
that's what's comfortable for everyone
Yeah.
else. And again, don't come in with arrogance, don't come in with ego, just come in with growth.
Yeah.
And the Matt that used to be at the party that had to have, and this is the case, but I'm using myself, had to have, so many drinks to be tolerable to be around. You can grow beyond that
Yeah.
version of yourself, and you can become more, and you can grow into a healthier version. And then,
And if people really love you, they're going to love the healthier
well,
version of
they'll
you.
learn to love that. They'll learn again, but you have to come from a posture of
Yeah.
being humble with the growth.
So,
No one likes to, someone they're coming in and all their talk, like when you join CrossFit, it's like you
right.
joined a cult and that's all you talk about and that's all you discuss and that's all,
Yeah.
and you're like, my God, is there anything else going on in your life but
Other than
CrossFit?
CrossFit. Well, when
And
you do CrossFit, you go a lot. Like
sure,
it's
and it
very,
becomes like a cult like thing, but
yeah.
then if you go long enough and you grow and it becomes just a part of who you are, you don't, it's not something you
It's not
feel
the
like
new first
yeah,
thing.
people recognize, wow, what are you doing? And then you get to talk about it and you
Yeah.
get to discuss, and it doesn't have to come from a place of I'm better or I'm, I
Yeah.
found this and you didn't. It comes from a place of genuine care and love, and you get to share something you're passionate about. That's much different.
So, what relationships have changed the most after growth?
Hmm, that's a good question. And I think for the sake of just being as um, as transparent, but also
Without throwing anyone under the
sure,
bus.
absolutely.
Hmm.
I think that there are relationships that I assumed for so long were solid, like even to the point of like mentorship. And then when life came and you had to learn, like you were either going to grow or you were going to die, right?
Yeah.
You weren't going to last in that catastrophe. You had to kind of build up from the ashes. You, you, you thought maybe some of those relationships were going to be there.
Mm.
And as you grow and you get healthy, you realize it's okay. It's okay. They were there for a season. They
Yeah.
were there for a version of yourself.
Hmm.
And then when that version changed and you had to grow and you had to learn to survive, uh, some of those things changed. And
Yeah.
that's very, very hard. That's hard to accept in the moment, but as time passes, you get so much more perspective.
Yeah,
And
for
you're
sure.
not angry, you're not upset. We talked about last week.
Yeah,
Most people are just trying to get by.
they
They're
are.
just trying to survive.
This is kind of the next part, too, is that it talks about how emotional depth varies and how some people avoid hard conversations because they avoid it themselves. It's not because they're avoiding you necessarily, it's because
Right.
they haven't themselves gotten to a place where they can have that hard conversation with themselves, or they haven't healed to that point. So they can only meet you to the point that they have healed themselves.
Yeah.
So my sisters and I laugh all the time because my memories of what happened in my childhood are completely different from theirs.
Yeah.
Not kind of different. Like,
Sure.
I remember things that my sisters tell me never happened, like trips and things that never happened. And I'm like, that totally happened. They're telling me no. But I feel like some of the things that we remember because that's where our brain kind of wired to remember, and not necessarily all of us were in the same place at the same age at the same time. That we may have been in the backyard and not in Mexico, but in my
Sure.
brain, we were in Mexico, right? So, but I feel like that is an instance of where I am and where they are and what we experienced at different times. But this talks a lot about when did you realize not everyone has emotional depth? And not to, I feel like our generation and our children have become much more emotionally in tune than our parents and their parents, right?
Absolutely.
So, like, my parents were raised, like, my dad rubbed dirt on it, man. Rub dirt
Right.
on it, get over it, stop crying, let's go. Like, and I
And
don't think it was
I think that,
a hate thing. It's because that's how he was raised. That
right.
you men didn't cry, right?
Right.
Like, all men didn't wash dishes, men didn't cry.
Yeah.
Those things were like real in his upbringing and in his life, and that's how we were raised. And I feel like I've become much more aware of my emotions. Um, like, even Jordan, I didn't mourn Jordan until after you and I really got together,
Right.
and I felt safe to be able to lose it and mourn, because for so long I wanted to be strong and keep everything together for everyone else, that
Yeah.
I didn't feel like I had a place where I could just be broken and it was okay to be broken. I don't know.
That is tough because I feel like there can be an overcorrection
Mm-hmm.
of, you know, we almost can get trapped in the the therapeutic, circle where we're just kind of oversharing and we are very open with our trauma, but that becomes our story,
Yeah.
and 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 it's the only story. And we have to be careful because you have like the generations before they didn't deal with it, but it manifests,
Mhm.
and that manifestation became the story. And then you had the our generation and the generation from us. There's almost a tendency to kind of overshare, and and that becomes our story, and that becomes who we identify as.
Yeah.
And so there's this weird, like
Gotta
both
find a
end, yeah,
balance.
both end of the spectrum can actually be dangerous. And
Yeah.
there's actually some research that suggests that we can like have too much
Yeah.
therapy. We can have too much where we're just regurgitating the same story. And then you have the other extreme where it's nothing,
Yeah.
rub dirt on it
And
and
move
just keep
on.
going.
Yeah.
And that
The
has its, yeah,
bottle
that
it,
has
push
its
it
same,
down.
right,
Yeah.
that has its same negative repercussions. So there's just this balance of finding.
This is very true because now I feel like the younger generation, everything's a trigger. Like, don't say that, that triggers me. Don't do this, this triggers me. Don't do
Right.
that. Like, there's no regulation of your
And that's just an
own.
autocorrect. That's
It
the, or not an
is.
autocorrect. That's an overcorrection,
Right.
and that is the human tendency, is just overcorrecting to where now we've almost cheapened the word. Where before we couldn't, nothing was a trigger.
Yeah.
You couldn't even indicate that,
That
hey,
something upset you.
this upset me or hurt my feelings or caused me pain. To where now it's like the slightest inconvenience,
Yeah.
and not to make fun or to poke fun at anyone, but we have become, it's almost like its own meme where we have this overcorrection
Overcorrection.
of anything and everything
Yeah.
can become a trigger. So there has to be a fine balance, but coming back to the idea of the relationships that change and the relationships that aren't deep because of like being able to share, because sometimes those previous generations, they're so uncomfortable
Oh,
with
so
when you
uncomfortable.
start to share the truth of what you're processing and what you're working through. um, so you have to meet people where they're at,
Hmm.
and just realize that this might not be a relationship that we can both like walk in agreement together for
Yeah.
a long period based on where I'm at, and that's okay.
And it's okay.
It's okay. It's not everything doesn't have to, you know it everything doesn't have to be a covenant relationship that we're gonna walk side by side, and
Forever and ever and
yeah,
ever.
yeah.
Amen.
So that's okay. It's okay to realize where you're at and where they may be, and again, it's not good or bad. It's not
It's
I'm
not.
right and they're wrong.
It's not. I think
It's
it's
just
just,
realizing where you're at.
yes.
You may be able to tell the truth, they might not even be ready to hear any truth.
Yeah.
And so, in your zeal, you may do more damage than it's worth at the time.
Hmm.
Truth is about, it really is about timing and tone. Telling the truth is about timing and tone.
Yeah.
Uh, Not everybody can hear it all the time. And I
Yeah.
love one of the rules that picked up from um, Jordan Peterson. It is simply tell the truth. And if you can't tell the truth to others, at least tell the truth. Don't lie to yourself.
Yeah.
So healing starts with not lying to yourself. And when you start doing that, that let them, let me, you're starting to tell the truth. You're starting to, hey, it's okay for me to allow that. And it's okay for me to stand up for myself. It's okay for me to love myself. It's okay for me to take care of myself.
It's okay to set a boundary.
It's okay to set a boundary. It's okay to have some time for you. It's
Hmm.
okay to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And self-care is not where we are binging, Netflix.
Right.
Self-care is not, my favorite snack all weekend and not doing any. That's not self-care. But it is okay to have self-care. It is okay to take care of yourself. but that means filling your cup back up.
Right. So when we did this, some people can only love you at the depth that they've healed. We talked about that. And then not everyone can meet you where you are.
Right.
And that's really true. And being okay with that, being okay with the relationship being where it is, and being okay that it's my growth and my level of healing isn't mandatory for everyone in my life to do the same. And relationships will ebb and flow, right? Especially with family, it will ebb and flow. And that's okay.
Right.
As long as I stay true to me, right? As long as I stay true to who I am and where
Now,
I am.
the caveat is if someone is experiencing abuse, and last week we put this example out of what
For
abuse
sure.
is. If you are not okay with your children experiencing in their relationships and their environments, then it should not be okay for you
For
to be
you.
experiencing.
100%.
So if you are experiencing abuse in multiple forms, that we're not telling you that that's something you need to work through. You need to
No.
have a healthy
No.
boundary, and it is okay to
To
say
seek help.
no and to seek help
100%.
and to set that hard boundary.
100%.
What we are talking about is relationships with people like family members that, again, we're assuming positive intent,
Mm-hmm.
and they may not be at the same level or the same journey. And it's not saying I'm above you or you're below me, but it's just respecting the journey that they're on and the journey that you're on. And it's okay because those paths will come back together.
Mm-hmm.
They will they will find a way.
They will.
As you heal, they will find a way for you to love that person where they're at. And
From where you
again,
are.
it doesn't mean that every single relationship in your life that you're going to it's going to be, if you had to rate it, they're all going to be tens.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be that way. That's too much pressure.
100%.
Because then it's performative. Everything you're doing is to prove, that I fit
Yeah.
in this group, I fit in that group.
Right.
It's okay if I'm,
Well, but in a sense, if you have to be the court gesture to be in the room,
yeah,
maybe it's not your room.
yeah,
If you have to perform the whole time that you're there, maybe it's not your room,
right.
right? I mean, that's one terrifying to me,
Right.
right? But um,
And again, when you're broaching topics within relationships, you just got to know that, hey, people are going to have really strong opinions about these things. So you have to know that going in, and that's a part of healing. That's a part of growing. That's a part of maturing. We're so divided in our country politically, by religion, and there's these topics that people are like almost blind because we've been split into these camps and don't realize how much we have in common with each other just as human beings on this
right.
on this this spinning rock that's a miracle in this solar system that's just it's mind-blowing that if you really think about it. I'm sitting here worried about paying taxes, and we're in this vast universe, and just the idea that we have so much more in common. I'm not saying not to have strong a standard or strong conviction, none of that, but understand that you can find common ground
Yeah.
with someone that you're talking to. And if you broach a subject, realize that they're going to be really passionate about this, and it's
For
okay to
sure.
disagree. It's okay to
For
have a
sure.
different opinion.
Right.
That doesn't mean that they haven't grown and you have.
Right.
That just means that they're passionate about something and you're passionate about something.
Right.
It's okay.
Right.
It's okay.
All right. So the next little bit is about outgrowing survival mode.
Yes.
Relationships built on chaos sometimes feel different after healing. Healing changes identity. Grief comes with growth. And some people struggle with the healed version of you. And we kind of talked about that already. But coming out of that survival mode, we talked about the flight, fight. What Mel in her book, she's called, there's three F's. She says flight, fight, flight, or fix. right? Like those are the three F's in the book. And I feel like sometimes in some seasons, like for us right now, we've had so much just pressure cooker with
Yeah.
school, family,
Yeah.
money, coming back to like all the, it's been a lot that we've kind of been in the middle of for the last
Right.
couple of years. And we both decided to go to school, which was personal choice. And, you know, we just thought we just need a little more pressure.
Yeah.
But we've kind of feel like you've been in that survival mode. Like we've kind of been in that. We talked about, we went on that camping trip, and that was kind of, we both were able to like, oh, we can breathe. Like
Sure.
it was just this long exhale for a couple of days. At the end of like my semester, like we were just able to like take a real break, and that was lovely.
Yeah.
But I feel like this survival mode is a little different than the pressure cooker survival mode that we're in.
Right. I mean, there are true, you know, survival seasons that you are. These are all outside of your control. They're
Mm-hmm.
happening to you that you are just under the pressure constantly, and that's a really hard place to be. You know, choosing pressure, uh, such as, you know, leveling up education or
Mm-hmm.
kind of pursuing a business or some type of growth, is that is definitely a pressure.
Right.
And not to use, you know, something that maybe is trivial, but using like a training for the St. Jude
Yeah, the
half
half
marathon,
marathon.
that's a choice.
It is.
That's a stressor. That's a choice, and it
Mm-hmm.
is pressure to find the time to apply the discipline, to do the work,
Yeah.
to recover.
Right.
Like, it takes a lot.
Yeah.
That's a chosen pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Out, and then there's the kind of pressure that comes from just life and situations. In those moments where it's things that are beyond our control, what, again, going back to what is in our control, what is in our control is finding times to truly, like, this isn't in Mel's book, but like the fight, flight, or fix.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we have to find a, a different version of, like, finding a rest,
Yeah.
a respite.
Yeah.
There's an ancient practice of observing a Sabbath.
Mm-hmm.
When we went on that camping trip, it was like literally like a Sabbath. Like,
Yeah.
we have to reset our nervous system to where
We
everything was a
literally like
risk.
took
Every
times just to lay
Right,
around and read a book, like just be still and watch the sun come up and watch the sun go
yeah,
down. And
and it moves you from everything is, you know, a disaster,
yeah.
because when you're under that pressure cooker, the smallest thing, right?
Yeah.
There's the old saying, it's the straw that what,
Breaks the camel's back.
right? So when you're in that pressure,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't find a way
Mm-hmm.
to reset, and we talk about these things constantly, you won't be in that place where you can let them
Mm-hmm.
and let me. Everything you see, experience, will be an injury to you. It'll be in survival mode. You're constantly looking for what's at danger for
Yeah.
me, what's going to hurt me and harm me.
For sure. And she talked about the neuroscience of things like the amygdala, right? Our reptilian brain, that little small brain inside underneath our big brain, right? Under our cortex. She talked about how the fight or flight comes from there, right? And how it can be over the most mundane. You were talking about, you know, the straw that breaks the camel's back. And you can in that moment of fight or flight and survival mode take a really deep breath and choose to come out of that space.
Yeah.
Of course not if you're in true physical danger, like please
Right.
do something about that.
Again,
But
we're
right,
assuming
we're
that there
assuming
is
that we're in a
no
healthy place, right?
immediate
But
true danger.
that was but she talked a lot about how how we don't truly understand how that survival brain works,
Yeah.
and how we sometimes in Western 1% life put ourselves in a survival mode for things that are not really survival,
Right.
right? Like being annoyed because someone cuts you off in traffic. That's not a true fight or flight. That's an annoyance,
Right.
right? That's a choice to take a deep breath and say, okay, they're in a hurry,
Right.
whatever, let it go. So different, learning how to turn that part of our brain and give ourselves a chance to reset and not live in that constant state of
Well,
frustration.
it's being present. It's being aware,
Mm-hmm.
learning, and that comes from growth. Just learning, like, I'm stuck in traffic. What a, I mean, what an amazing opportunity to.
Right.
I'm listening to this great song right now.
Right.
I'm grateful to be alive. I'm grateful to
Man,
gratitude opens up a
gratitude
whole other, but you can't be in a state of gratitude and be in a state of fight or
or
flight.
flight. Yeah.
So you have to be disciplined enough to let them,
Yes.
they cut you off, let them.
Yeah.
And then it lets me,
Yeah.
it brings freedom to me. Now I get to choose how I respond. I get
Mm-hmm.
to choose how I interact with these people on my job and these situations and
Right.
these family members. And they didn't intend that, but I took it because I'm in fight or flight. And I can't believe she said that to me. I
Yeah.
can't believe they did that to me. I can't believe they.
I I was pulling out of the neighborhood the other day, and when I tell you, I had to self correct myself because I there was this person in the middle of the road
Yeah,
coming from the library, and they were just sitting there, and I had to get to work, and it
yeah,
was like 5:45. I had to get to work, and they just kept sitting there, and they could have gone like 10 times, and I was like, what? I was getting so frustrated. I was like,
yeah,
I'm fixing to be late to work behind this person just
yeah.
sitting in the middle of the median. And then I was like, what are you fussing about? You have graciously, gratefully got a job now that is literally 4 minutes down
Right,
the road. You are not going to be late. It is going to be okay. Breathe. What are you doing? Like, why are you allowing this to be the start of,
right.
because working nights, this is the start of my day. I'm fixing to go to work
So then it's
all
just
up in,
accumulating.
yes,
Yeah, and you're
up in
by the
arms.
time you get into a real crisis moment, you you
You're
don't have
burnt.
yeah,
You're
you don't have the
spent.
capacity.
Spent.
And I think that's what happens sometimes in our relationships
Yeah.
is that we don't allow ourselves to be the healed version. We get pulled back into that reptilian style
Yeah.
reactionary. This is I perceive this to be a risk to me.
Yeah.
So therefore I respond with that extreme, and that's where we
Instead
get in
of,
trouble.
so a few other things that are in these chapters, I just want to hit them really quick so that people know that we did go over them. Is the boundaries versus control. That boundaries are not punishment. Setting a boundary is not a punishment for you or the other person.
Yeah.
Loving people doesn't mean you have to rescue them. That you can love someone and let them learn and deal with
That's
their
a
own
hard
things.
one. That's a hard one.
Um,
That's a hard one to learn,
it is super hard.
especially in the world of like recovery.
Mm-hmm.
And when someone that we love is struggling,
Mm-hmm.
we want to step in
Mm-hmm.
and we want to play God in a lot of ways. And that leads to uh, a lot of additional heartbreak because unsolicited advice is always unheeded advice.
For sure.
So when we come in and we're like, this is what you need to do, if that person isn't at a point to where they're actually seeking,
Help.
uh,
Right.
yeah, there's a proverb Jesus talks about, and the greatest teacher ever, you know, looking for a speck in your brother's eye when you have a log
In you.
essentially in your own eye. And he talked about removing the log out of your eye, so then your brother who's seeking help, you can see clearly, so then now you can help remove this thing that's causing harm to them
Yeah.
when they're seeking it.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're going around with your own, and That's a
Trying to,
yeah,
yeah,
that's a big one. Like heal yourself. Let it always process through you first.
yeah.
Not like, ooh, they should have heard that. They should have been here. They should have been reading this. And we'll
Right.
do that. We'll read
Oh, for
through a
sure.
book and
And be
like,
like,
oh,
oh, I need to send this to
so and
so and
so,
so.
yeah, so
Yeah.
and so needs to see this.
Yeah.
Is it really so and so, or is it
It,
me
yeah,
first? Process should always be
for
let it come
sure.
through me first,
Right.
so then I can then be a blessing to someone else.
When it says letting people make choices, even
Let
if it's
them,
the bad choices,
yes,
you have
let
to let them
them,
make choices, and you have to learn how to care without controlling,
right?
how to care about someone and love them without controlling the situation that they're in and the outcome. We
Because you're
can't
only
change it.
going to drive them further and further
Yeah.
away. And again, it doesn't mean that you have to completely open yourself and say, here's my debit card. I know you're struggling with an addiction.
Right.
That's not what it's saying. There's healthy boundaries that you have. And
Right.
in those healthy boundaries, you learn that you have to allow them to find that path. You have to
Yeah.
allow, and you
I feel
can
like
be there as an
sometimes
encourager.
if you don't allow people to learn how to heal, then you cheat them from the accomplishment and really understanding
But
where
can you
they're
heal
coming.
them? Can you heal them? Can I heal them? We
No, and
can't.
it doesn't matter how many books you give or how many whatever, you can only
What can
allow
we
someone,
control?
just us.
Yeah, I can only be the best version of myself. So then when someone then comes to me and they recognize that while you are different, then and only then, and for people that are working on projects and trying to better themselves, and maybe you're exercising, you're posting things on Instagram, you're like, none of my friends or family member are loving this. It's okay. They
Right.
don't they Number one, they're super busy, they're just trying to get by. And number two, they don't know what to do with it, and they maybe they don't offer support, or maybe someone makes a kind of a jab at you, and you take it so personal. You
Yeah,
take it, oh, it's so crushing. It's not that crushing. Let it
it's
go.
not.
It's okay.
One
If
of the
you're
things,
growing, you
right.
grow.
One of the things that Mel
What are you
talked
growing
about,
for?
right. One of the things Mel talked about in the book was that um, she had gone to some expert people that had done talks and
Yeah,
asked them how did you get into this to make money. They were in dire straits and this is what she wanted to do. She felt led that this was her,
right.
her thing. And they said, oh well, you need to make a little kind of promo reel thing. You need to post it on social media. You need to start talking about what you're doing and putting yourself out there on
Yeah.
social media. Just do some for free, get some stuff, do what you got to, this is kind of how it starts. And she said like 3 to 5 years or something. She waited to post anything on her personal social media because she was afraid of being judged.
Yeah.
This
Isn't
is
that
the
crazy
woman
that
who has millions of
yeah.
views, followers, books, all the things now, but was afraid to step out because was afraid of what the moms and the people in her community and the people in her world would think about what she was doing.
Yeah.
How
And that comes back to, why are we doing it?
right.
What
A
is it
hundred
for? Are
percent.
you doing it because you want to grow and you want to become the best version of yourself? Is that small business? Is that venture? Is that exercise routine? Is that whatever you're trying to better yourself, that educational pursuit, that learning path, that spiritual growth? Is is that for them,
Or
or
for
is
you.
it for you to grow?
Yeah.
And if you're doing it for them,
It's
they're
learning how to do things without fear of judgment.
right,
We're
or
learning how to
rejection.
we're learning how to do it with that and be like, this is who I am and this is what I'm doing. And if you clap for me, great. If you don't, great.
And for
I'm okay either way.
the most part, the support may can't come from the strangest, oddest places, and it may be from
For
outside
sure.
of your circles, and that's
For
okay.
sure.
You don't have to be angry with everyone.
No.
If you're growing and you're becoming healthier and you're doing something, you're probably not going to get a lot of that a boy, that a girl from your peers, and you just again, Why are you, what is the motivation behind
Yeah,
it? If the motivation behind it is for you to grow, then it it doesn't matter.
for sure.
You can let them
Hmm.
and let me. Then it's freedom. It's true freedom.
So, and this is I really, and this spoke to me. I can love people without abandoning myself.
Yeah.
I can love you without letting who I am be something other than who I am.
Yeah.
That's huge.
That is huge.
It's huge.
It's meeting it's your your the progress that you're making in yourself doesn't have to stop to love someone where they're at.
Hmm.
It's okay. Again, that is acceptance. That is being aware. That is being present and knowing that it is good what I am doing and how I'm growing.
Right.
And I see the best in you.
Right.
I can love you. Doesn't mean that I have to sacrifice myself. Doesn't mean I have to make myself less. I can love you right where you're at. And again, every relationship isn't going to be a 10.
No.
Every relationship isn't going to be a covenant relationship. And that's perfectly okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. This idea that we have to have thousands and thousands of best friends is is
Crazy.
it's unsustainable.
Yeah.
It's unsustainable.
Well,
You know?
and you think about now the depth of relationship is so different than what it looked like when we were coming up. I
Yeah.
mean, before social media, and it was
Oh,
how
we have
many,
thousands of friends,
right?
but no real depth.
No real depth. So that moves right into this next one: emotional depth and silence. Healing makes shallow conversations harder.
Mm.
Quiet moments expose what's unresolved. Silence becomes reflection instead of fear. And depth becomes more important than distraction.
Yeah.
So it's saying that as you heal and as you let me become the best version of yourself, that you're okay sitting in a room and it can be quiet. It doesn't have to be filled with noise and distraction. It doesn't have to be, um,
It's scientifically proven that the more that you learn about a topic, the less that you're sure about the topic. The more that you grow, the less the less you are so absolutely sure that
right?
I have the answer, or I have it all figured out. When people have it all figured out, run for the hills, right? Like, listen, if I've ever somehow projected that I've got it figured out, please, I was not my best version.
Right.
When you are healing and when you're becoming the best version, headed toward the best version of yourself, spiritually, physically, emotionally, mentally, you are okay with sitting in silence.
Mhm.
You are okay with not having all the answers.
So, would you say that healing has made you crave depth more than distraction?
Absolutely, absolutely. The you know the um, the biblical equation is one can put 1,000 flight, two can put two to 10,000 to flight, and then it goes into one more version, and a fold cord is not easily broken. So by this definition, you're talking about one or two really deep relationships is kind of all you need. That it gives you that anchor,
Yeah.
that person that you can call in the middle of the night and they're going to drop everything and show up. It's better than having 10,000 people that you're friends with, like on social media. And those relationships, you're okay to sit in silence with that person.
Yeah.
You're okay to sit and not have an answer and not try to be performative and and say something to sound smart. You can sit and learn from that person.
Yeah.
You can grow from them. You can realize that every relationship and every conversation, you can learn something.
When I learned what the word glean
Yeah.
meant, this is really silly. not silly,
It's
but
not.
something that I was doing a Bible study on Ruth,
Ruth, yeah,
and she would go and glean behind the harvesters, right? They
right,
would go do the wheat and clean the fields, and she would go
right,
glean what she could to have enough for her
yeah.
and Naomi, right? And I was like, that became a word
Get
for
your
me.
Boaz.
Yeah, that became a word for me
Yeah,
for for quite a while. It's like, what can I glean? What can I learn? What are the remnants in a room, in a conversation,
yeah,
from
that's
a book,
awesome.
from something? Like, what can I glean from a
But isn't that
situation?
different from like I have to perform, I have to perform, I have to perform to
For sure.
when we grow, I'm it's okay that I'm not the smartest one in the room.
Hmm.
It's okay that I don't have the answer.
What does Wyatt say all the time? If you're the smartest one in the room, you're in
Yeah,
the wrong
yeah,
room.
in the wrong room. Shout out to Wyatt Graves
Yes, we
if
love
you
Wyatt
get this
Graves.
far into this podcast. But yeah, as you mature and grow, and you just become more present.
Yeah,
You just become more present,
you do.
and you can sit next to someone, and I can get emotional thinking about it. You can sit next to someone and just be.
Hmm.
That's powerful.
It is.
Sometimes just being there for someone,
Hmm.
you don't have to have the words. You just,
Be there and hold their
yeah.
hand.
Like I remember when mom passed, and this is years ago, and she was, young by the standards of today and medicine and everything that we experience in her life, and I remember two people from Louisiana drove pretty much all night, 12 hours to be there at the funeral and just to hug my neck. That's all they did.
Yeah.
Hug my neck, told me they love me. They didn't have any answers. I didn't have any answers. And I'll never, ever forget it. Never as long as I live. That act of friendship was unbelievable.
Yeah.
There's people that are going through stuff that you just call them and you don't know what to say. So you just talk.
Yeah.
You just talk and let them talk and listen. And it's okay.
It is.
It's okay not to have the answer. It's okay to sit in silence. It's okay to be present.
Hmm.
And that changes everything. Changes everything.
It does. So I have a few questions for our viewers. So if you've made it to the end of the podcast, or
Yes.
maybe we'll pull the shorts out, but it says some viewer engagement questions. Have you ever healed and realized certain relationships felt different afterwards? What changed most when you stopped abandoning yourself? That's a really hard one.
Yeah.
Like, what changes the most? Did healing make your circle smaller and deeper?
Mm.
So, those are some of the questions just for the people that are going along this
Yeah.
journey
Think
with us.
about it.
And think about it. Let us know what your thoughts are. I'm really enjoying this book. I'm really enjoying some of. She's really funny.
Yeah.
She's she's very entertaining. Some of the stories of her life and the things that she's gone through. So I am. It's become really enjoyable.
Well, I think there's some authenticity, especially to the stories
Mm-hmm.
of it's relatable in that we all have those moments of getting pulled into like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this?
Yeah,
You know, what am I? And again, healing isn't linear. It
it's
doesn't
not.
look the same all the time.
It's not necessarily a pyramid.
It's not a pyramid. Oh, we're watching a great series right now.
Yeah,
We have some great recommendations right now for.
we do.
There's
So
a
if you want
couple
to
of
know
really
some
great.
TV shows that we're really
Yeah,
into,
really
let
great.
us hit
Yeah,
us up.
it's not, but it is. It's going to look different, and it's going to be a process.
It is.
And this is, we're adding a tool to the toolkit,
Mm-hmm.
and a way that we can grow, and we can just be we can give ourselves more grace and give others more
Give
grace.
others more
And we
grace.
can give them the space.
And set, I just really feel like for me, the things that have hit me the hardest up until right now, like we've gone through 1 through 6, like the biggest things were realizing that it's okay to let them, right? That control factor that I have in just myself and who I am, my personality. It's okay to let them make mistakes, figure it out,
Right.
whatever, right? It's okay. And it's okay to let me, which we've been on this kind of healing journey for quite some time now. I feel like we've been doing this for, we've been doing the podcast stuff for a year officially.
Right.
But we've been on this healing journey for quite some time, for
Yeah.
a couple of years, you and I together, really focused on becoming the best versions of ourselves, not only for each other, but for ourselves. It's not performative. Like I'm not forcing you to be the best version of yourself and you're not forcing me, but we
Right.
do allow each other to have a safe space to do that. So that has been really good for me. And not abandoning who I am for the sake of the room that I'm in. That has been my biggest takeaway, that it's okay to let people judge me because I'm not who I was, or I've changed, or my path is different, my words are different, or what I choose to do is different. That's okay. And they can judge me, and I can let them, and I can let me, and it's
Right.
okay. So that's kind of been my
And
biggest.
and even in that process, we're so quick to think they're judging me or they're and again, I just go back to this simple idea that most people are just trying to make it through, and they're just trying to, so they may not know how to handle the new healing version of you, and that's okay. And
Right.
again, as you mature, you just have to understand, it's I can accept,
Yeah.
I can accept that this is where I am, and I accept that they might not fully understand it,
Yeah.
and I don't have to cram it down their throat. I don't have to, this is who I am, I'm the best version of myself.
Right.
if if there's salt and light, then it's a city set on the hill, and the salt will have its effect.
Right.
It may take time. It may take time for it to be recognized, but it will eventually be recognized if it's truly there.
Yeah.
And it may not come, the recognition may not come from the place that you think it should
Right.
or you think it ought. And those relationships may change. And you don't need 10,000 people to be your best friend.
No.
And it's okay to just accept that this is where I'm at and this is what is the process that I'm in. And I can accept that.
Well, guys, we just want to thank you for joining us. It's Matt and Angelica. We're the Healing Project, and this
Yes.
is the Healing Shelf. Have a great night.
Thank